To the viewers of the Don't Ruin Your Life video series, from time to time I'll interrupt the series to post something I think may be interesting to everyone. In this case, it's a review of certain comments posted below the videos. I know that some people, myself included, don't always want to scroll through all the comments and replies, but sometimes useful and important information is found there. That's the reason for this comment review number 1. By the way, I welcome interaction with Don't Ruin Your Life viewers in the form of questions that might clarify some aspect of the life rules and advice. I also welcome hearing about personal experiences having to do with a particular advice item. Depending on the question or comment, I may respond in the comments section. Also, by the way, if I don't respond to a comment or don't include it in the review, that doesn't automatically mean it's less relevant or less appreciated. I will most often choose a comment that indicates the viewer has some misconception about the advice. I'm going to start with Don't Ruin Your Life number 36. Be wary of marrying someone who already has a child. This video has gotten more comments by far than any other. The first comment I chose is this one, where the viewer wrote, I got brought up by a stepdad. Sure, my dad was good, my stepfather was better, and always there. It's clips like these that plants doubts and festers in many men's minds. By the way, when I read one of these comments and there's a grammatical error, I'm not mocking the viewer, I'm just reading it as is to be accurate. I make typing errors myself, of course. I responded. The actual purpose of this video is to plant doubts about marrying a single parent. This allows prospective marriage partners to assess these doubts or potential problems, to deal with any that seem relevant to their situation, and to make a more informed decision about marrying. If your upbringing by a stepfather was good, I'm happy for you and everyone involved. I wish all such second marriages were happy. The next comment I chose was this one, where the viewer wrote, This is BS. I married my wife 44 years ago and she had 2 children. Second-time marriage for both of us, and we have never been happier. I responded, I'm very happy for you. Please note that the advice is not never do this. The advice is be wary of this situation. Listen to the full video, pay attention to the possible things mentioned that can go wrong, then make your own decision. You're making the common mistake of confusing an individual case, yours, with a generality. Please view this video. What is the advice in the Don't Ruin Your Life series based on? That's one of the introduction videos. The next comment I chose is this one, where the viewer wrote, So by this video, you're giving stepfathers who are abusive and leave the marriage the perfect excuse to blame the mother they left. I think education before you marry a person with children would be much better advice. I responded, First, I wonder why you only mention abusive stepfathers. There are plenty of instances of abusive stepmothers. Second, any abusive step-parent who gives false reasons for leaving a relationship can create them without any help from me or anyone else. Third, you wrote, I think education before you marry a person with children would be much better advice. This video is intended to be the very education of which you speak. The next comment I chose is this one, where the viewer wrote, You are just sleeping with the child's mother. That does not give you rights with her child. Stay in your lane. Okay, to back up a little bit, this person is commenting on one of the problems I mentioned in marrying someone who already has a child, and that is, this person you marry may resent your disciplining his or her child. And, of course, the child himself or herself may resent being disciplined. I responded, The advice is about assessing potential problems in marrying a single parent. None of the advice is about disciplining children of people with whom you are not married. A brief aside here, I said that because the commenter said, You're just sleeping with the child's mother, implying that you're not married, you're just having sex. To continue. The same viewer then wrote, You have no right to discipline a child that is not yours. None. I responded, If you are married to a formerly single parent, it is your duty to correctly discipline all children in the marriage, guiding them toward being a decent human being. If you don't, other than supplying food and shelter, you're not only useless as a parent, your neglect is potentially creating a person harmful to the rest of society. Not happy with that, the viewer then wrote, "What a load of BS. You do not earn the right to discipline children by marrying or cohabitation with their mother. You are no one to those kids. Do not overstep, or their real father might step up." And I responded, 1. Nothing in the video is advice about people who cohabitate but are not married. I'm not sure why you keep bringing it up. 2. If one partner in a married couple never instructs or disciplines the children, or is forbidden to instruct or discipline the children, then he or she is not a parent, just someone living in the home. 3. If you had such a bad experience with a step-parent that it caused you to lose your common sense in this matter, I am so very sorry. So, this viewer may be a single parent, or may be the child of a single parent who was either badly disciplined by his or her step-parent, or may have been a child that resented being disciplined by anyone. This viewer's thoughts regarding marriage to a single parent are exactly the reason for advising you to be wary of marrying someone who already has a child. Most alarmingly, the viewer tells you that you are no one to those kids, meaning the viewer believes children should view step-parents as zeros. So, what if you had married this person without knowing his or her views about step-parents? If you had made such a mistake, I believe you would be getting a divorce soon, or else you would be living in misery. The final comment concerning the video, "Be wary of marrying someone who already has a child," is this one, where the viewer wrote, "The Bible says to defend the fatherless. You're advocating for the opposite. Enjoy hell, Satan." That seemed a little bit extreme. My response was this. 1. If you're talking about defending fatherless children, I'm all for it. Marrying the children's mother is something else. It needs to be considered carefully for all the reasons given in the narration. If you're a woman, the same goes for marrying the father of motherless children. Second part of my response. If I were Satan, my advice would be, don't ask why that person you're attracted to is a single parent. Don't ask any questions about her or his past life, values, or views of how marriages should work. Just shut up and get married right now. I'm not Satan, but I think that sort of advice would cause the most havoc down the line. So, several of these viewer comments either directly or indirectly accuse me of being against women, certainly against single mothers. That's because they're viewing my advice on a superficial level. Let me point out the underlying pro-woman advice. There are seemingly countless videos of single mothers in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who are visibly tearful or distraught or very angry because no man wants to marry them and take on the responsibility of providing food, shelter, protection, education, and so forth for her and some other man's child or children, all while risking losing half of everything he owns when this same single mother decides at some point to get a divorce. A question. Why would any man with a functioning brain do that? Some men do, of course, but the vast majority have enough self-preservation instinct to never consider such a thing. Keep in mind that these women got into their unhappy single mother situation because they had sexual relations with a man who had no love for them, a man who was simply engaging in recreational sex, as often the women were too. So my underlying message is this. Women, do not have sexual relations with a man who will abandon you if you become pregnant. At the very, very least, follow the advice in Don't Ruin Your Life number 17, which is don't have unprotected casual sex. Neither of those items of advice are anti-woman. They are the opposite. They're intended to prevent women from ending up like the miserable single mothers on YouTube and TikTok and all the other tens of thousands of single mothers who are living out their unhappy situation privately. Now I'll switch to a comment made concerning the first post I made under the Community tab on the Don't Ruin Your Life channel page, concerning the reasons I laid out for listening to the Don't Ruin Your Life video series. This person wrote, "This reeks of guru grifter garbage." First, I compliment him on his alliteration, guru grifter garbage. That's pretty good. But this is my response. Where is the grift? If I never profit from these videos, yet help someone avoid years of misery, that is reward enough. Where is the guru? I specifically disavow esoteric knowledge in the 3 introduction videos and also explain the rationale behind each particular advice item in the accompanying narration. If you disagree with the rationale, you are free to ignore the advice. All right, I think that's enough for this time, but I would like to give you some reminders. Go back and start at the beginning of the series, the introduction videos. And not just the 3 introduction videos, but also all the early low-number videos. Why? 1, the videos are not time-sensitive. Because they concern human behavior, they should be valid for the next several hundred years. 2, the 3 introduction videos will give you information that should instill confidence in the actual life rules and advice items. 3, the earliest videos with the lowest numbers serve as foundations for the following videos. By the way, I hope you don't skip the one about the golden rule because there may be things in it that you haven't considered. Actually, I hope you don't skip any of them. Also, if you find the videos useful or at least thought-provoking, share them with your friends. Clicking on the subscribe button will help promote the Don't Ruin Your Life videos to a wider audience, and I thank you for that. A final note, I talk and enunciate rather slowly in the advice videos because I want to be clear and because some viewers may speak English with a non-American accent and it will be harder for them to understand. And some viewers may speak English as a second language. And keep in mind, you can always click the settings gear icon and speed up the narration. Last but certainly not least, I wish you all a wonderful life.